as believers, we have to understand that our thoughts have been contaminated by the natural world. So when we come in to a relationship with God, that's why you can't bring yesterday's thinking with you. Those thoughts are contaminated. Those thoughts are polluted. Those thoughts are filled with things that are anti-clean, or watch this, anti-true. Anti-true. They're not true. See, the world tells us that, this is the only way that you can be successful. This is the only way that you can be happy. These are the norms. These are the value systems that you should follow, that you should trend after. Those things are not true. How do we know they're not true? Because, see, truth is something that never changes. The world is constantly changing, moving its moral compass, if we can even call it that. I mean, years ago, there are things that were unacceptable, but today it's okay. Years ago, there are things that were unspeakable, but today, it's okay. Why? Because we moved the chains. We moved the moral compass. We thought that was immoral in time past, but now we become more sophisticated. We have become enlightened. We have become more accepting of what people bring to the table. So we're going to adjust what's true, what's right. So I want to tell you, we have to have the right mind. We're not talking about your external behavior. We're talking about getting our thoughts right, understanding that that truth in definition is something that cannot be changed. If it was ever true, it is still true. Okay, all right, I'm just going to put it out there. So if it was ever true that men are not supposed to be with men, you can't change it today because it's acceptable. If it was ever true that women are not supposed to be with women, if it was ever true, that it is expected that we are to love one another, that we are expected to care for one another, if those things were ever true, you don't dilute them and change them, reevaluate, rearrange them today. It is still true. That's what has some folks wrapped up in chains and fetters and imprisoned, and breaking out of those chains and fetters and imprisonment and going crazy because we can't fit in, so we don't have a place in normative society, and now they're running around crazy because there is an absence of absolute truth. Truth that you can live by. Truth that you can measure your life by. See, whether I am able to obey what's true or not, I don't get to change what's true. If I'm not doing what's right, it doesn't mean that there is no right way to do it. It simply means, hey, I erred. I chose not to do this right. Watch this. So if I'm measuring out how to trim and to cut, this piece of wood, and I'm using a measurement tool as a guide, and it's showing me that this is the straight edge, and I choose to cut down a different path, I might get the work done, but it doesn't make it right. Then I'm going to have problems fitting everything else in. All right, that's a whole nother lesson. But here's the focal point here. Without an absolute truth, we cannot have absolute life. We cannot live absolutely. We cannot have reliable life outcomes if you don't have an absolute truth. That was this man's problem. An unclean spirit. Because he had been polluted, his mind, his thinking had been contaminated by the world, the environment that he lived in.